15 accountants screwed up, but this courageous delivery girl intervened at the last minute. In a city buzzing with numbers and deadlines, where every tick of the clock seemed to echo with the sweat and anxiety of deadlines, something was brewing. Chaos reigned as 15 accountants stared at their monitors, their faces pale and drawn, typing in desperation like frantic pianists at a sinking recital. One single, crucial file was missing. It was the key to a $5 million deal that could make or break their firm. Could the numbers dance their way out of this mess? Or were they doomed to fail? Among the chaos, a fearless delivery girl named Mia had just wrapped up her last drop-off. A bright orange vest fluorescent against the muted gray of the office towers. She was a burst of energy in the thick air of panic. As she strolled into the building hungry for those last few tips and a caffeine surge, little did she know, she was about to become a pivotal player in a high-stakes financial drama. Footsteps echoed like thunder as she glided through the hall, her delivery bag slapping gently against her hip. What caught her attention was the murmur from the accountants. It was not just any ordinary day in the city, it was a converging storm of confusion and dread. A bald man shouted, "It's gone! We're ruined!" His hands flailed dramatically, sending coffee cups tumbling like boulders. The air crackled with tension, and for Mia, each word was a notch on her spine. She couldn't help but peek over the nearest desk, and what she saw made her breath hitch. They were all staring at a glowing screen with numbers cascading like a waterfall, yet fraught with peril. What number could spark this level of hysteria? "Okay, just breathe," said a young woman, but everyone else was bouncing off the walls. Mia's heart raced when she realized they were tipping on the edge of disaster. One of them seemed to clutch their temples, brows furrowed, a tightness in their jaw. This was no longer merely a job for her. This was an opportunity to save the day. Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon, and while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Mia sensed urgency coiling around her like a snake. It was now or never. Her eyes darted to the open office doorway, an escape route that could take her away from this escalating madness. But there was something magnetic about the dread gripping those accountants. They were desperate, and amidst their frantic search, Mia noticed a small archive room on the side, the door ajar, shadows writhing in the flickering light. Could that be where the missing file lay, hidden from view? Time was slipping, heart pounding, butterflies swirling in the pit of her stomach. Mia took a step toward the door. She could feel the weight of their eyes on her back, a blend of hope and disbelief. What if she could be the one to save them all? Little did she know, the moment she stepped into that room full of shadows, everything would change. Was she ready to uncover what truly lurked within? Mia took a deep breath as she reached for the slightly cracked door, her fingers trembling slightly. The moment she nudged it open, a rush of stale air enveloped her, filled with the smell of old paper and something else, something musty and forgotten. Inside, dim lights flickered ominously, casting elongated shadows of filing cabinets that loomed like silent sentinels, guarding secrets wrapped in layers of dust. The first thing Mia noticed was the sheer disarray. Files were strewn everywhere like a storm had blown through, tossing them about. She squinted at the stacks, searching for any sign of the missing file, her pulse pounding loud in her ears, drowning out the muffled chaos from the accountants still in the main office. She stepped cautiously further in. The boards creaked beneath her sneakers, shards of sunlight breaking through streaky windows, revealing motes of dust dancing like tiny stars in the gloom. She remembered why she was here. This wasn't just about escaping her shift. It felt larger than that. The weight of the accountant's desperation lingered like a ghost, urging her onward. Suddenly, her eye caught a glimmer. Among the hodgepodge of manila folders and crumpled notes was a slightly tarnished box sitting crookedly atop a mountain of files. It appeared out of place, like a treasure map in a sea of old calculations. There was something almost inviting about it. The box called to her. Mia approached, her heart racing. She felt the cool metal of the box's latch beneath her fingertips. Would the contents offer the answers, or would it plunge her deeper into confusion? With trembling hands, she flipped the latch open. As the lid creaked forward, she was met with a collection of disorganized papers. Her eyes widened at the sight of the company logo, emblazoned on each page, Valiant Financials. More importantly, there it was, the file marked confidential. 5 million deal. The words screamed at her, lighting up her mind. Adrenaline surged through her veins. But at that moment, a noise erupted outside, someone shouting, footsteps crashing against the tiled floor. Panic wrapped around her tight. She had to act fast. Ripping the file from the box, she hesitated just long enough to scan the room. Did anyone see her? The accountants were probably still in their frenzy, oblivious to her invasion of their sanctum. Heart pounding, she stuffed the file into her delivery bag and turned to dart back the way she came. Just as she reached the door, she froze. A figure appeared in the shadows, blocking her exit. It was the bald man from earlier, eyes wide, seeming to loom larger in the faint light. "What do you have there?" he shouted, voice running thick with desperation. Mia's pulse raced. Was it too late? Had her daring rescue turned into a trap? She gripped the strap of her bag, her thoughts racing. Could she lie her way out, or was honesty the only way forward? In the charged silence that followed, the air was thick with tension. She could either spill the secret that could save them all or double down and risk losing everything. What would she choose to do? As his gaze bore into hers, she realized the moment was slipping from her grasp. What fresh horrors were about to unfold? Would she step into the light, or would she be swallowed by the darkness? Mia's breath hitched in her throat as the bald man's shadow enveloped her. An unsettling blend of fear and adrenaline spiraling through her. Time stretched, every heartbeat resonating in her ears like a countdown clock, tick-tocking to unknown consequences. "Please," she whispered, her voice barely rising above the hum of the lights. "Just let me go." He stepped closer, narrowing his eyes. "You can't just take things like that. You have no idea what you've stumbled upon." His hands were fists, knuckles white with tension. In that split second, a rush of defiance spurred Mia forward. "You're right, I don't know. But I know it's important." She faltered, the weight of her words heavy on her tongue. What if he was in on whatever mess this was? Before she could finish, more footsteps thundered closer, the frantic shouting from the accountants mixing with the ambient buzz of uncertainty. She glanced behind him toward the door, calculations racing through her mind. It was now or never. "Look, if you want to know, just come with me," she blurted out, a wild idea born from desperation. "Help me understand what's going on. We can find a solution together." For a heartbeat, his expression shifted, uncertainty flashing momentarily in his eyes. But danger lurked just behind that flicker. "Why would I trust you? Because you want the truth just as much as I do?" Mia shot back, her voice steadier now. "We can't keep running in circles. This is about more than us." As she spoke, a cold trickle of sweat ran down her spine. She was standing on the precipice of chaos, and still, she had to push through. She glimpsed fear blend with curiosity in his. A loud crash erupted from the hall, the sound of a file cabinet tumbling over, sending papers flying like leaves in a storm. The bald man flinched, instinctively glancing toward the chaos outside. Whatever tidbits of power he may have seemed to possess wavered in that moment. "Now's our chance. We can slip out together," Mia insisted, urgency pulling her closer to him. "Are you crazy?" He shot back, staying rooted. "Yes, but sometimes crazy is the only way to survive." Something clicked within him, then a decision, maybe sparked by desperation. He looked back at her, the battle within evident. "Fine, let us go." Mia gestured for him to follow, heart thudding as they moved through the shadows, ducking low beneath the flickering lights. They dodged debris strewn across the floor, ears attuned to the ruckus in the hallway. As they slipped into the dark corridor leading out of the office, she couldn't shake the nagging thought, what if this deal was more than just numbers on a page? What if this file was tied into a knot of deceit that could unravel lives and futures? They reached a side exit, the faint glimmer of streetlights seeping through the tiny cracks in the door. Mia paused, hands trembling from the adrenaline coursing through her. What now? The bald man took a breath, stealing a quick glance back. We can't stop here. If what's going down in that office is as serious as I think, they'll come after us. She swiped at her sweaty palms, ready to burst through the threshold, but gripped her bag tightly. Do we go to the police? The press? He shook his head, eyes wild with uncertainty. They're tangled in this too. We need to be smart. We need a plan. Mia nodded, even as dread tightened its grip on her heart. They might be stepping out of one trap, but which other would they unknowingly walk into? Together, they took a breath and pushed the door open, but the moment that met them was anything but welcoming. Outside, a figure stood waiting, silhouetted against the glow of the streetlights. Fear gnawed at her insides. Who were they now walking into? Would they find salvation? Or were they merely stepping deeper into a vortex of danger? Whatever comes next. Don't let go of that file, Mia, he muttered, urgency threading through his tone. Why? What do you know? But before she could press him for answers, the figure stepped forward, revealing a shadowy face that sent chills spiraling down her spine. This couldn't be happening. What other secrets were hidden away, just waiting for her to uncover? And as the tension escalated, one thought raced through her mind. What fresh hell awaited them on the other side of that newfound freedom? Mia's heart slammed against her ribcage as the figure stepped into the light. A woman. Her hair was slick and pulled back tightly, revealing sharp features and cold, calculating eyes that glinted with unmistakable menace. The tension in the air thickened like fog rolling in. Mia, the woman said, her voice smooth yet dripping with a sense of authority that made the hairs on the back of Mia's neck stand up. I didn't expect to find you here, but this is even better than I anticipated. What do you want? Mia forced the words out, though her voice trembled. The bald man beside her shifted, unease radiating from him as he positioned himself protectively in front of Mia. We're done playing games. Just let her go. The woman chuckled softly, a sound that sliced through the night. Oh, but we're just beginning. You have something I need, and I'm afraid it's not just her safety on the line. Mia looked at the bald man, fear pooling in her stomach. What had they stumbled into? This wasn't some petty office dispute. It was a web spun with dark intentions. She held the file tighter against her chest, its weight feeling far heavier now. What is in that file? The woman pressed, her lips curling into a smile that sent a shiver through Mia. It's rather important to some influential people. Mia felt a twinge of panic. What if the contents were worse than she imagined? What if they involved something unforgivable? I don't know what you're talking about, she said, the fib escaping with a quiver. The woman stepped closer, closing the space between them like an encroaching storm. Oh, but you do. You just don't understand the danger you're in. Before Mia could respond, the sound of hurried footsteps echoed down the street, a jarring reminder that time was not on their side. The bald man's eyes darted toward the sound, then back at Mia, calculating. We need to move. Now. Not so fast, the woman interrupted, raising a hand in warning. I don't need much time to take what's mine. Just give me the file and maybe I'll let you both walk out of this alive. Mia's heart raced. They weren't just dealing with another scared accountant anymore. This was someone who could make things happen, bad things. The streets felt suddenly smaller, the night darker, as a weight of decisions loomed over her. No, we're not giving you anything, Mia shouted, her voice ringing with unexpected defiance. The bald man nodded, caught up in her fierce energy. You'll have to fight us for it. A flicker of surprise crossed the woman's face, but it quickly morphed into a smirk. Very well, in an instant, she lunged forward, quick and menacing. The bald man reacted first, shoving Mia behind him as he moved to intercept her. But Mia wasn't just going to be a bystander. Panic ignited her instincts, and she reached for the file. Run, Mia. Get out of here, he yelled, grappling with the woman who was surprisingly powerful. Realization struck her like a lightning bolt. If she stayed here, she might get caught in the crossfire of whatever chaos was about to unfold. But could she just leave him? Mia hesitated, torn. The world had become a panic-infused blur of shadows and danger. But deep down, she felt a spark of courage flicker inside her. She had to make a choice. Go, Mia! The bald man's strained voice echoed in her head. With a sudden surge of determination, she turned and bolted, feet pounding against the pavement, heart racing as adrenaline shot through her veins. She couldn't look back. She didn't know if he would follow or how this would end. But one thing was clear: this was just the beginning of a nightmare she never wanted to face. As she dashed down the street, sounds of the struggle faded behind her, but the weight of the file felt heavier. Was it really the key to unraveling something so sinister? And then it struck her: she didn't know where she was going, or who she could trust. But she had to figure it out quickly. Before they caught up, a flicker of headlights appeared behind her, a car racing forward. Would it be salvation or more danger chasing her down? A knot tightened in her stomach and dread crept in. The night had only just begun. She sprinted down the narrow street, the noise of tires screeching on asphalt rising up to meet her. The headlights grew larger behind her, illuminating the darkness as panic gripped her tight. What if it was them? Her breath came in sharp gasps, and with every stride, the shadows felt closer, more ominous, eager to engulf her. Mia! A voice pierced through the darkness, familiar, urgent. It was the bald man, sprinting after her, determination etched into his features. The sight of him sent a jolt of relief through her. He was alive. Stop! He shouted, waving his arms as he closed the distance. Wait for me. But she didn't stop. Not now. If the woman was still behind them, Mia didn't want to risk being cornered again. The energy of the night crackled with unseen threats, escalating her fear. She darted into a side alley, her mind racing. She had to think, had to come up with a plan. The file was important. She knew that much, but why? The weight of those contents was too much to bear alone. What did they know? What was she carrying? Glancing back, the bald man caught up with her, panting heavily. Did you see what she could do? We need to hide. Think of something. His eyes were wide, filled with urgency. Mia nodded, instinctively tucking the file under her arm to shield it. I think we should go to my apartment. It's just around the corner, and it's safe. Safe? He questioned, eyebrows snapping together. Do you really have any idea what kind of danger you're in right now? I'm not letting her find you again. She asked after this. Mia replied, her voice trembling yet resolute. Fine, lead the way. He glanced nervously toward the street, the shadows growing darker around them. They took off again, weaving through the veins of the city. As they approached Mia's building, her heart raced faster. She knew the shortcuts, the hideaways. The familiar cracks in the sidewalk felt like lifelines pulling her back to safety. When they arrived, they stopped at the side door, holding their breath. A sudden burst of activity rang out, a car door slamming, voices sharp and anxious. They weren't just being chased. They were being hunted. Mia glanced at the bald man, eyes wide with fear. We need to get inside now. With a quick twist of the knob, they slipped through the door, pushing it shut just as footsteps echoed down the street. Silence overtook the atmosphere, but the tension lingered like a storm preparing to break. They paused, breathing heavily, the sound of their hearts racing in synchrony. Do you think we lost her? Mia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. He shook his head, running a hand over his shaven scalp. I doubt it's that easy. She'll find us if we don't come up with a plan. Mia pressed her back against the door, sweat clinging to her forehead. I need to know what's in this file, why it matters. The bald man ran his fingers across the stack of papers inside the file, pulling out the top page. His eyes quickly scanned the details, and the color drained from his face. What is it? Mia reached for it, anxiety pounding in her veins. But he held it just out of reach. It's destruction. Not just any kind. This goes much deeper. Mia, we've opened a door that shouldn't have been touched. A sudden crash interrupted them. The door rattled. Echoes of the chaos outside surged back into reality. "Get back," he shouted, positioning himself in front of her. Mia's heart raced anew, panic setting in once more. The night's danger wasn't gone. It was just getting started. Suddenly, the door burst open, revealing the woman from before, eyes glinting with malice. "Thank you for making this so easy," she sneered. And as they faced her, a chilling realization struck Mia: this battle was far from over. Would they be able to fight back? Or was there another layer to this nightmare yet to unfold? The night had only just begun. Mia's breath caught in her throat as the woman stepped forward, an unsettling calmness cloaked in menace. Each step she took twisted the chill in the air, a tactile fear wrapping itself around Mia's chest, constraining her thoughts. "Did you really think you could hide?" The woman's voice was low, almost taunting. "This file, it has cost so many their lives. And now, it seems, you will add yours to the tally." Mia felt the bald man's tension spike beside her. His body shifted, ready to push her out of the way if the woman lunged. "What do you want?" he demanded, fists clenched, courage laced with desperation. "Oh dear," the woman replied with a cruel smile. "I don't want to kill you. Not yet, anyway." Her gaze bore into Mia, an unsettling intensity that made her skin crawl. "I want what you're holding. That piece of paper is the key to everything." Mia tightened her grip on the file, heart racing. "No, you'll never get it. We'll fight." The woman chuckled, a dark sound that echoed in the small hallway. "Fight? You're just a scared little girl," she said with an exaggerated sigh, as if Mia's defiance bored her. "And him? A has-been chasing ghosts. How cute." Mia felt a blaze of anger swell within her. She pushed away thoughts of doubt. She had to outsmart her, had to think clearly even as dread clouded her mind. Just then, a noise reverberated down the corridor, a sound that made the woman's attention slip for a moment. In that brief heartbeat, the bald man braced himself. This was their chance. "Run," he shouted, grabbing Mia's wrist, and they bolted past the frozen figure of the woman. They dashed down the stairwell, the emergency lights casting eerie shadows around them. Thudding footsteps followed, rhythmic and dangerous, each echo heightening the urgency of their escape. "Where do we go?" Mia shouted as they reached the ground floor. "Basement?" he growled, directing their path towards a door marked with faded red letters. The door crashed open, and they stumbled into the dimly lit space. The basement was cluttered, boxes stacked haphazardly, a maze of forgotten objects. Mia's heart thumped loudly in her ears, the panic thrumming through her veins. "Hide," he said, yanking her behind a large shelf. They crouched low, breaths shallow, minds racing. The footsteps grew louder, and the woman's voice echoed as she swept into the room. "Mia, you can't hide from me. Just hand over the file, and I'll let you go." The bald man shot her a frantic look, urgency painting his features. "What do we do now?" "Think," Mia whispered, her mind racing for options. There must be something within these walls they could use. Suddenly there was a loud crash. The woman was throwing boxes aside, her frustration palpable. "I can feel you," she hissed, the anger in her voice slicing through the silent air. They both held their breath, not daring to move. A flurry of thoughts bombarded Mia. This file held secrets, powerful ones. It was worth fighting for, worth risking everything. She glanced at the old shelves around them. Then a reckless idea shot through her head. "Do you trust me?" she whispered to the bald man. His brow furrowed. "What are you planning?" "Distract her." Without waiting for his response, Mia scrambled out from behind the shelf, grabbing a can of paint off a shelf as she did. The woman turned, shock etched on her face, wide eyes glinting with something darker. Mia threw paint at her, splashing the vibrant color all over the woman's face and clothes. "Get her!" Mia screamed, adrenaline soaring as the paint splattered and transformed the tense energy into chaotic hilarity. The woman roared, her eyes blazing with rage, and Mia darted back to the safety of the shelves just as the bald man charged forward. Sensing the chaos was turning, Mia knew their chance was fading. They needed an escape and they needed it fast. Quick, she murmured, her heart pounding. There's an old vent over there. We can crawl through. As they scrambled toward it, Mia couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of their troubles. Hold on, Mia. This isn't over yet, she thought, the weight of the moment heavy on her shoulders. But deep down, one thought terrified her more than the rest. Could they really escape the very thing they thought they could outrun? They had to keep moving. The night was still young and growing darker. The vent was dusty, cramped, and the edges felt jagged against Mia's skin as they squeezed through. The faint scent of mildew hung in the air, mingling with the adrenaline pumping through her veins. She pushed ahead, ignoring her trembling hands and the thudding of her heart. Behind her, she could hear the bald man's strained breathing, each ragged inhale a reminder that they were not out of danger yet. They crawled and twisted, feeling the clammy metal walls press toward them. The woman's booming voice echoed behind, a promise of wrath just inches away. You can't run forever, Mia. It rang through the vent, sending tendrils of fear weaving through Mia's thoughts. You'll regret this. Come out. Come out. Mia gritted her teeth and forced herself to move faster. They couldn't stop. The file was still in her hand, its importance weighing heavy. Somewhere out there, enemies lurked with eyes set on their prize. It was a file filled with secrets that could turn the world upside down, and one way or another, she would protect it. Finally, a glint of light appeared ahead. Hope surged through Mia. We're almost there, she whispered, pushing them both toward the opening. With one last desperate push, they emerged into a tiny room, a storage closet stacked high with cleaning supplies and old boxes. The faint smell of bleach filled the air, a sharp contrast to the stale air of the vent. The bald man steadied himself against the wall, barely managing to contain a grunt as he straightened up. Where the hell are we? He panted, glancing around. Some supply closet, I think. We can't stay here, Mia said, her voice firm despite the tension pulsing under her skin. There's gotta be a back door or a way out. As they rummaged through boxes, searching for anything useful, Mia's fingers brushed a roll of duct tape and a flashlight. She shoved both into her backpack, her mind racing with thoughts that tumbled like marbles. Then, there came a monstrous bang, a door slamming open. The woman's laughter echoed ominously, low and chilling. You think you can hide, Mia? You're only making this more fun. Move, the bald man hissed, yanking Mia towards a corner of the closet that led to a narrow doorway. Where does this go? She asked, fear creeping up her spine as they crept through. Just trust me, he replied, the urgency in his voice igniting more adrenaline within her. They scuttled through, only to find themselves in a dimly lit corridor, the air thick with tension. Mia could feel the cold sweat pooling at her temples. If they didn't hurry, they'd be trapped with no way to fight back. As they turned a corner, an old fire exit sign glowed faintly in the distance. Hope sparked in Mia's chest. Over there, she pointed. They made for the door, but their relief was short-lived. As they reached for the handle, a figure stepped out from the shadows, another man, tall and menacing, with a smirk that sent Mia's heart plummeting. Thought you could escape? He taunted, blocking their path. Oh no, the bald man surged forward, trying to shove past him, but the man snares him easily, spinning him around. The sound of a fist colliding with flesh echoed in the narrow space. Mia's instincts kicked in. She couldn't freeze. A bunch of emotions coursed through her: fear, anger, uncertainty, but one thing was clear. She had to act or everything was lost. She dashed to the side and grabbed a broken mop leaning against the wall. With trembling hands, she readied herself to swing. Let him go, she screamed, heart pounding in her ears, knowing this was a moment where everything could change. Or what? The man sneered, tightening his grip on the bald man's collar. Then Mia made her choice. With a burst of courage, she swung with all her might, sending the mop crashing into the man's side. He stumbled, surprised, but the real threat was far from over. There was still the woman hunting them. The weight of the file pressed on Mia's chest as she caught a glimpse of the chaos awaiting beyond the door. Did I end that breathless moment? Clarity shattered over her, a realization that stakes were immeasurable. They could fight, but at what cost? The exit loomed before them, but with danger closing in fast, would they still make it out alive? Fear coiled tight in Mia's gut, and she whispered to herself, "We have to go. Now." But even as she pulled the bald man toward the exit, a chilling thought gripped her. Was this just the beginning of their nightmare? Mia barely registered the blow she landed as adrenaline surged through her veins. The tall man staggered back, clutching his side, and the bald man let out a breath of relief, momentarily stunned by the turn of events. But Mia knew that wasn't enough. They had to keep moving. "Go," she urged, yanking the bald man toward the fire exit. The door seemed to glow with promise, a beacon of freedom, but Mia could already hear the heavy footsteps of the woman approaching. She imagined blood pounding in rhythm with each step, desperate to catch them, wanting vengeance. The bald man flung the door open, revealing a narrow staircase leading downwards into murkiness. A gust of stale air hit them, filled with the scent of rust and dust. "After you," he said, urging Mia forward. She hesitated for just a second, fear clawing at her. Was the woman just moments away? But then she heard the echo of the woman's laughter, that haunting sound that chased them like a shadow. With a nod, she stepped into the unknown, racing down the stairs. The hairs on Mia's arms stood on end. Each step reverberated with uncertainty, and she felt the weight of the file pressing against her hip like a warning. The bald man followed closely behind, his breath heavy and labored. "Where are we going?" he gasped. "Do you even know?" "I have no idea," she admitted, trying to catch her breath as they reached the bottom and emerged into another corridor. The low ceiling loomed above them, lit by flickering fluorescent lights that buzzed ominously. "This place is a maze," he said, squinting at the long stretch of hallway ahead. "We could end up anywhere. Then we need to be smart about this," Mia said, her voice unwavering despite the anxiety pressing against her chest. "We have to find a way out. They can't follow us forever." Their footsteps echoed dismally as they moved cautiously. Each corner they turned potentially leading to unforeseen dangers. The moral weight of their situation loomed just as heavily as their physical one. What if we hide or wait for them to pass?" the bald man suggested. "And risk being caught?" Mia shot back, her resolve hardening. "No, we need to keep moving. If we stop, we're dead." He opened his mouth to argue, but then the unmistakable sound of footsteps echoed behind them, the woman, relentless and closing in fast. Panic shot through Mia's veins again, sending a sobering rush of energy. "Run," she shouted, and they sprinted down the corridor, desperation lending them speed. They sprinted past doors lined with faded labels: server room, supply, security. Mia swallowed back a wave of dread. What were they lurking inside? More enemies? Or maybe, just maybe, a way to fight back? Suddenly, the bald man veered to the left and pulled her toward a door marked entrance. "We might be able to escape out this way," he yelled, flinging the door open. The light streaming in from outside made her momentarily squint, but just as they were about to bolt through, a thunderous crash resounded from behind them. Splintered wood. A figure barreled through the door they had just passed. Not so fast. The woman was upon them, fury lighting her eyes like fire. In that split second, Mia's instinct screamed. This was it. It was do or die. She felt the weight of her choices crashing down like a wave. Fight or flee, save herself or save them both. "Get out," she yelled, shoving the bald man forward. "I'll hold her off." He hesitated, panic etched on his face, but Mia was already pushing the horror away. She had to stand her ground or they would all fall. With a trembling hand, she readied the mop again, heart hammering. This wasn't just a fight for their lives. It was a chance to turn the tide. Could this be the very defining moment Mia always dreamed of, or would it lead to their ultimate downfall? The answer loomed like a storm, ready to strike. Mia's heart raced as the woman charged toward them, a wild look in her eyes. The hall faded away, and all that existed was the confrontation before her. Mia gripped the mop tightly, a flimsy weapon, yet it felt like a lifeline. "Stop," she shouted, her voice breaking slightly. You don't have to do this. The woman laughed coldly, advancing with a predator's grace. You have no idea what I'm capable of. Her long hair whipped around her face like a tempest, and in that moment, Mia saw the darkness inside a twisted resolve that sent chills down her spine. With a swift move, the woman lunged, and Mia swung the mop with all her strength. Connected with a thud, knocking the woman slightly off balance. For a heartbeat, victory coursed through Mia, but it was quickly drowned out by the roaring fury in the woman's eyes. You think that's enough? She growled, regaining her footing. I'll end you here and now. Mia's breath quickened as she realized she had bought only a moment, not freedom. The bald man stood frozen at the threshold, beyond the light spilling into the corridor, still torn between fleeing and helping her. Go! Mia screamed, but before she could fully process his decision, the woman charged forward, fueled by rage. Mia twisted out of the way, narrowly avoiding a collision, but the weight of the mop felt like 100 pounds now. She had to outsmart her, fight strategically, but the fear surged, drowning out every ounce of logic. Run for it! She shouted at the bald man again, adrenaline sharpening her voice. He hesitated a second longer, and that small pause felt infinite. Suddenly, pain shot through Mia's side as the woman grabbed her arm with an iron grip. You're not going anywhere, she hissed. With a swift motion, Mia reversed the grip, shoving her body weight backward to escape, then swung the mop again. It connected with the woman's shoulder, a glancing blow that almost knocked her off balance. Mia took advantage of the moment, trying to create space. Get out now, she yelled, her voice wild with desperation. The bald man seemed to snap back to reality. He hesitated just long enough to meet her gaze, something unspoken passed between them. With a nod of understanding, he bolted down the corridor. Mia! He yelled back, but she could barely hear him over the chaos in her mind. She focused on the woman, determined, relentless. Leave him out of this, Mia shouted, feeling the adrenaline dulling the ache in her muscles. Oh, sweetheart, it's too late for that. The woman smiled darkly, her expression revealing that she was a game player. You'll regret this mistake. In desperation, Mia swung the mop again, hitting the woman squarely this time. A shout of pain erupted. The woman staggered back, but her anger only seemed to fuel her more. Mia's fingers nearly slipped from the handle, the sweat pooling in her palms. She needed to keep fighting, needed to stand strong or risk losing everything they had fought so hard to achieve. But just as Mia thought she had the upper hand, the bald man's voice echoed from the far corridor, urging her. We need to leave now, Mia. Don't let her trap you. Mia's eyes darted back and forth between the woman and the distant promise of safety. She felt it, that gnawing fear creeping in. What's it going to be? The woman taunted, tauntingly stepping closer. You want to save yourself or him? Pretend to be brave and you'll realize it's all for nothing. Mia's breath hitched, the weight of choices collapsing upon her. She could hear the bald man's urgent calls, but the woman's presence loomed larger, more sinister. With a burst of determination, Mia took one definitive step toward the light, reeling from the pressure. Enough! She yelled, raising the mop once more, her heart pounding like thunder in her chest. You won't take either of us. But as she braced herself, a sudden crashing sound echoed down the corridor, vibrating through the walls. The floor trembled beneath her feet. What now? With a glance back, she saw the woman grinning, eyes ablaze with a dark thrill that only stoked the fire within Mia's resolve. Did they have time to escape? Or was something far worse coming for them? The next thunderous crash shook the very ground, and in that moment, terror gripped Mia's heart. What awaited them around the next corner? Mia's heart raced as the walls around them trembled, and her pulse hammered in her ears. This was no longer just a fight for survival. It felt like a rebellion against the tides of fate pushing them toward disaster. With an instinctive gasp, she looked towards the bald man. He stood frozen in place, his eyes wide, caught in a fierce battle of indecision, striving to comprehend their next move. Mia! He shouted again, urgency turning his voice sharp. The woman before them was no longer just a threat. She became a harbinger of doom as more crashes erupted from deep within the building, terrors fueled by sheer malice. It was time. I'm coming, Mia yelled back. She had the file clutched tight in her arms, its secrets singing out to her like a siren. Let us go. Adrenaline surged as she turned to run down the corridor towards safety, fear driving her while clarity pushed her forward. And then it happened. A door burst open down the long hallway, an ominous shadow springing into view accompanied by the echoes of chaos. Two imposing figures emerged, figures who seemed to spring from the very depths of betrayal, their faces shrouded in darkness. They glanced at the woman, who roared in anger and ran to engage them. Go now, she screeched at Mia, pushing them toward the dim light of the exit sign peeking from the far wall. The bald man moved with her, their urgency fusing into a shared bond. They surged forward, leaving behind the cacophony of chaos entwined in shadow as they reached the door. Mia paused and turned back for just a moment. She saw the woman contending fiercely with the two men, her hands flailing like a storm brought to life. For a brief instant, their eyes locked. The hatred in the woman's stare fueled Mia's fight to stay free. Keep running, the bald man urged, his hands on the door now, electricity igniting between them. The shadows of uncertainty lingered, but Mia felt the rush of freedom beckoning beyond. They broke through the door and stumbled into the cool night air, hands tangled, heels striking against the pavement like drumbeats of hope. But even as they sprinted through the streets, a familiar fear crept back in the knowledge that the woman would not relent. What do we do now? The bald man panted, glancing over his shoulder. We need a place to hide. Regroup, Mia replied breathlessly, her mind racing like the wind whipping around them. Somewhere we can think. Nothing appeared safe. They were fleeing from shadows of their making, yet the grip of reality tightened around them. Thoughts tumbled through Mia's head like scattered leaves, a mixture of worry and the significance of the file. The weight of responsibility pressed hard on her chest. We can't go back to my apartment, she said. They'll track us. Just as the panic was about to envelop her, she spotted a quaint cafe sitting at the edge of a corner, its door glowing warmly like a lighthouse beacon. The late-night vibe promised comfort and safety, at least for a brief moment. Over there, she shouted, grabbing the bald man's arm. They dashed toward the cafe, hearts hammering in synchronized fear and hope. Inside, the barista gave them a curious look. Mia barely registered the smell of freshly brewed coffee twisting through the air. We need to hide, she whispered to the bald man, her breath shaky. Can we stay here for a minute? Let us find a corner. Together, they slipped into a far booth, shadows shielding them. What's in the file? He asked, glancing nervously toward the cafe's entrance. What have we gotten ourselves into? Mia took a sharp breath. I don't know exactly, but I can't let them have it. It's important. But what if no? She interrupted, an image of the woman's eyes flashing in her mind. This isn't over. We can't just throw it away. Their eyes matched in defiance, ignited by shared determination. No longer just survival. It was something more now: justice, truth, and the chance to expose the web of sin they had stumbled into. Suddenly, the door of the cafe swung open with a sharp bang, chilling the air around them. Mia's heart stopped. Shadows passed. The entrance, and for an agonizing moment, she prayed they would leave. Mia, now, the bald man said, slipping toward the back exit he spotted. They fled again through the applause of hot coffee cups and unsuspecting patrons, another racing heartbeat pushing them onward. But as they dashed through the door and into the alley, Mia couldn't shake the feeling this battle was only the beginning. They stepped into the moonlight, the world stretching out before them like a vast sea of possibilities. Together, they sprinted into the night, hearts aligned, knowing they couldn't turn back now. They were fighting a tide of danger, but perhaps, just perhaps, they could find a way to harness the chaos into something powerful. Let us expose the truth, she shouted, fueled by a sense of newfound purpose. Together, he called back, determination etched into his tone, the weight of their decisions pressing like iron chains. Mia realized it was never solely about the numbers or the $1 million file. It was about their lives, their choices painting the future ahead. They cornered toward the bright lights of the city, shadows receding behind them, but they would not forget. As they raced, wind at their back, the possibilities unfurling like an adventure that demanded their attention, Mia knew one crucial thing. The power to change their fate rested in their hands, and as long as she held that file, she wasn't about to back down. Because sometimes, facing the storm meant emerging stronger on the other side. This is your moment. Don't wait even one more second. You need to subscribe now to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that are coming your way. Smash that like button right now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. And you must flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this thrilling conclusion. Finally, share this video immediately with at least 5 friends who need to witness this awesome ending. Let us rally together. True fans, your support makes all the difference.